Have you ever stopped to think about what really makes that connection work between a company and its investors? It's definitely more complex than just getting an annual report,
No,
right?
absolutely. There's a whole technology layer powering that communication now.
Exactly. And it's this, well, often overlooked tech sector that's seeing some genuinely explosive growth around the world.
It really is flying under the radar for many.
Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. Today, we're diving deep into the investor relations software market. If you've ever wondered how, public companies or even those getting ready for an IPO manage all that complex back and forth with shareholders, analysts, the whole financial community.
This software is basically the command center.
Right. It's the digital backbone. So, our mission today is to cut through the noise, pull out the really key insights from the latest data, and help you get a quick handle on where this market is going globally. Understand the strategic shifts happening.
And what's interesting is our insights today, they aren't just anecdotal. We're drawing directly from a pretty detailed analysis by cognitive market research.
Yeah.
So that gives us a solid, data-driven view of the global growth trends, the future projections, basically for this specific software niche.
Good stuff.
And these numbers, well, they aren't just about sales figures going up. They really tell a compelling story about how companies are fundamentally changing their relationship with capital and, frankly, how they're positioning their value in a world that's just becoming more and more transparent.
Absolutely. And let's kick off with that truly staggering global picture because, wow, it points to a market that isn't just growing steadily, it feels like it's accelerating.
Yeah, the pace is picking up.
So just a few years back, 2021, the whole global market for this IR software was sitting at just under, what, $933 million?
That's right. 932.5 million, roughly. A solid base.
A solid base, exactly. But the projections show this dramatic climb. By 2025, it's expected to jump to nearly $1.37 billion.
Uh-huh.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Looking out further towards 2033, this market is projected to hit an impressive $2.95 billion.
Wow.
Just think about that for a second. It's set to more than triple in just over a decade.
That's huge.
And if you average that out, we're talking about a really robust compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of over 10%, 10.08% to be exact.
And that 10% isn't just, simple growth. It feels more like a recalibration of how companies operate. It signals the game has fundamentally shifted.
How so?
Well, for you, whether you're managing a portfolio or maybe a company's reputation, seeing this market value triple means companies are seriously investing. They're putting money into tools that don't just report information anymore.
Right.
They actively shape narratives. They use AI-driven analytics to try and predict investor sentiment. They customize communication for really specific shareholder groups.
So it's moved beyond just compliance.
Oh, way beyond.
Yeah.
It's become a sharp competitive edge. We're talking about these integrated platforms now. They handle everything from, say, automating earnings call transcripts and real-time social media sentiment analysis to sophisticated CRM for targeted investor outreach and making sure global regulatory compliance is seamless. It's really comprehensive suite for modern corporate engagement.
That deeper dive into the functionality, yeah, that really clarifies why the numbers are moving like this. So, okay. The global figures are dynamic, but let's zoom in a bit. Where is this growth actually concentrated geographically?
Right, because it's not uniform.
We definitely have some clear regional powerhouses. And North America, well, it continues to lead the charge, doesn't it?
It does. Still the biggest slice.
Back in 2021, the North American market was already a big piece of the pie, and it's projected to nearly triple by 2033. We're looking at over $900 million then.
Wow.
With a steady CAGR just under 10%, 9.736%.
Still very strong growth for a mature market.
Definitely. And within North America, no surprise, the U.S. is the dominant force, taking the lion's share.
Naturally.
But interestingly, it's Canada that's actually showing slightly higher growth momentum. Their CAGR is over 10.5%.
10.693%, yeah.
Yeah.
That suggests a really rapid maturation of their market up there.
Uh-huh. And Mexico's contributing solidly, too, with growth over 9% CAGR.
So a strong region overall.
Definitely. Now, shifting our gaze across the Atlantic, Europe, also a very substantial contributor.
Absolutely. Big numbers there, too.
Their market size is also projected to more than double, maybe even closer to tripling, reaching over $700 million by 2033. That's supported by a healthy 9.9% CAGR overall for the region.
Right on par with North America, nearly.
Pretty much. And within Europe, the UK really stands out, an impressive CGR over 11%.
11.035%. That's significant.
Right.
Their market value is set to more than triple in that time frame.
Exactly. And Germany also holds a huge market share and is growing strongly, over 10% annually as well.
Right, 10.276% for Germany.
And then you see other major European economies, France, Russia, Italy, Spain, they're all consistently expanding their investment in IR software, generally showing growth rates in that, 9 to 10% CAGR range.
It demonstrates a really broad-based commitment across the continent to these advanced tools.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating here, I think, is how these established markets, like North America and Europe, they continue to drive such substantial growth, even while other regions are emerging faster.
What does that tell you?
It shows a deepening, maybe even an accelerating, reliance on these sophisticated tools within those, let's call them, mature financial ecosystems. It's not just about companies getting started with IR software anymore. It's about evolving with it. It suggests that even companies with long-standing, well-developed investor relations practices, they're constantly upgrading. They're investing more in these digital solutions.
And what's pushing that?
Well, often it's driven by increasingly tough regulatory environments, right? Plus the demand for more personalized, data-driven engagement with investors who could anywhere in the world, and just the sheer volume of information that needs to be managed efficiently nowadays.
That's a great point about the evolution, even in the mature markets.
Yeah.
But now, okay, here's where it gets even more interesting, I think.
The emerging markets.
Exactly. While North America and Europe are foundational, the Asia-Pacific region, it's showing the highest regional CAGR globally. It's like the real acceleration engine for this whole market.
Let's see the numbers.
Okay, from just over $160 million in 2021, it's projected to absolutely soar to over $550 million by 2033.
Wow, quite a jump.
Fueled by a regional CAGR of nearly 10.8%. That's noticeably higher than the established markets we just talked about.
10.784%. That is higher.
And within Asia-Pacific, India is really emerging as a powerhouse. Get this. It boasts the highest country CAGR in the entire APAC region, an impressive 11.55%.
11.5%. That's huge. Poised to quadruple its market value.
Yeah. Now, China remains the undisputed market leader in the region by size, and it's also seeing really robust double-digit growth, over 11% CAGR too.
Okay, so China leading volume, India leading growth rate.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And we also see strong contributions from countries like Japan, South Korea, Australia, Singapore, all expanding significantly, mostly around that 9.8 to 10.6% CAGR mark.
A really dynamic region.
Definitely. Okay, expert, quick question for you here for a listener trying to make sense of this. What's fundamentally different about the drivers in a rapidly expanding market like India or China compared to, say, a mature market like the U.S.?
That's an excellent question.
Are they buying the same software for the same reasons, or are there unique local dynamics fueling that faster growth?
Yeah, the drivers are definitely nuanced. In mature markets, like we discussed, it's often about upgrading, right? Deeper integration, responding to complex regulations, investor expectations. In emerging markets like India and China, you've got this confluence of factors creating that, explosive growth. Firstly, you have many companies that are either new to the public markets or are scaling incredibly rapidly.
Okay.
So they're essentially leapfrogging. They're skipping the older manual IR processes and adopting the latest software right from the get-go.
Makes sense.
Secondly, just the sheer volume of new companies entering the capital markets in these regions is immense. Thirdly, there's this growing awareness, a real push towards global best practices in corporate governance and transparency.
Right, attracting international capital.
Exactly. That drives a strong demand for sophisticated tools to attract and, crucially, retain international investors. So while the tools themselves might be similar, the adoption trajectory and the underlying market readiness are very different. And that accounts for that accelerated CAGR we're seeing.
That clarifies the picture beautifully. Thanks. Okay, moving on quickly. South America, what are we seeing there?
Steady, consistent expansion seems to be the story.
Yeah, the market there is projected to nearly triple by 2033 as well, growing with a CAGR of over 9.4%.
Solid growth, 9.424%.
Brazil is a leading country there, showing strong growth around 9.7% CAGR, and Colombia is actually showing an even higher rate, over 10%.
Interesting. Colombia at 10.179%. Consistent expansion across the board there.
Right. Now let's talk about the Middle East. This is a region demonstrating really significant high growth potential. Several countries showing double-digit CAGRs.
Yeah, definitely one to watch.
The Middle East market as a whole is projected to more than triple by 2033, with an overall regional PRGI of over 10.6%.
10.624%. Very strong.
And Saudi Arabia is truly leading the pack in the region. It boasts an impressive TAJAR of 11.4%.
11.403%. That's among the highest globally.
It really is. And the UAE is also growing very strongly, exceeding an 11% CAGR as well.
11.116% for the UAE. It indicates a pretty profound investment in enhancing corporate transparency across the Gulf, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely feels like a strategic priority there. Okay, finally, let's turn to Africa, another region demonstrating a truly remarkable surge in this sector.
The growth numbers out of Africa are really striking.
The Africa market, again, projected to more than triple by 2033, supported by a strong 11% CAGR overall.
11%. 11.02%. It's
Yeah.
really high for a whole continent.
It is. And South Africa boasts the region's highest growth rate, an incredible 11.65% TAGR.
Wow, 11.651%. That's copying even India's rate.
Exactly. And Nigeria is right behind it, showing a remarkable 11.56% CAGR.
Nearly neck and neck. These figures really highlight a rapidly professionalizing approach to investor relations right across the continent.
It seems so.
You know, this comprehensive global picture,
Yeah.
it reveals something quite critical, I think. While North America and Europe, yes, they remain the foundational pillars of this market.
Mm-hmm.
The explosive growth we're seeing in places like India, Saudi Arabia, Nigeria, South Africa, it indicates a broader, truly worldwide recognition of the strategic value of these sophisticated IR tools.
It's gone global.
Completely. It's no longer just a Western trend. Companies across incredibly diverse economic landscapes are realizing that effective, transparent communication with investors, well, it requires dedicated, purpose-built technology now. And this reflects a significant global shift, I believe, towards adopting best practices in corporate transparency and engagement, regardless of how mature a specific regional market might be.
So, wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, our listener? We've painted a truly dynamic picture of the investor relations software market today.
Definitely dynamic.
It's not just growing, it's undergoing this significant global expansion. Pretty much every region and most individual countries we looked at are contributing to this rising demand.
The momentum is widespread.
The overall narrative seems clear. North America and Europe, strong established contributors, still showing robust growth, driven by maybe deepening sophistication.
Right, upgrading and integrating.
Asia-Pacific is accelerating fastest,
Yeah.
driven by those emerging powerhouses like India and China and rapid adoption elsewhere. South America is expanding steadily, and then the Middle East and Africa are demonstrating really high growth potential, with several countries posting double-digit EGRs that rival the fastest-growing areas anywhere.
A very exciting time for this particular tech sector.
It really is. It reflects just how crucial effective communication has become in global capital markets.
And considering this widespread, rapid adoption of investor relations software, perhaps the most, well, thought-provoking question to leave you with is this. How will all this increased sophistication in corporate investor communication ultimately reshape the landscape of global capital markets? And maybe even the very nature of investment decisions over the next decade? Will it lead to more efficient capital allocation, greater corporate accountability, or perhaps even fundamentally change how investors evaluate companies and decide where to put their funds?
That's a big question.
It's a fundamental shift, really, in how information flows and how trust is built between companies and capital. And the long-term implications, well, they're profound for everyone involved.
Absolutely. A lot to think about there indeed. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the investor relations software market.
My pleasure.
It's a fascinating area, one that, as we said, often flies under the radar, but its impressive global growth told a really powerful story about the evolving demands of global finance.
It certainly does.
We encourage you to reflect on the insights we've shared today. Consider the implications of these trends for your own understanding of how companies connect with their investors. Staying informed on these kinds of crucial, yet often overlooked technological shifts, well, it's more important than ever in today's global economy.
Absolutely.
We hope this deep dive has given you a real shortcut to being well informed on this vital sector. Until next time.